and welcome at the 17th Annual Kościuszko Chair Conference. My name is Filip Styczyński, and I am the Director of Operations at the Center for Intermarium Studies at the Institute of World Politics. The theme of this year's conference is Threats and Opportunities in the Intermarium, an update. Today's joint virtual symposium is organized by the Institute of World Politics. For those who are new, IWP is a graduate school of national security, intelligence, and international affairs. We offer a doctoral program, 7 master's degree programs, including 2 online MAs, and 18 certificates of graduate study. If you are interested in learning more about us, please visit us at iwp.edu. On behalf of IWP, I would like to thank all of our supporters who make IWP events possible. Today, we will be hearing from Dr. Sebastian Bojemski. Mr. Bojemski is a graduate of the Institute of History at the University of Warsaw and holds a PhD from Cardinal Wyszyński University in Warsaw. At the Institute of World Politics, he took individual courses in geography and strategy, geoeconomics, strategic influence, and propaganda. He has received scholarships from the Kościuszko Foundation and the Grabowski Fund in the United Kingdom. Mr. Bojemski also has extensive experience in strategic communication and marketing. For more than 15 years, he owned a Warsaw-based communications company that carrying out marketing, consulting, and public affairs projects for defense, financial, and telecommunication corporations. Between 2018 and 2024, he was an executive director for marketing at PKN Orlen, the largest oil company in Central Europe, a vice chairman at Lotus Fuels, the second largest oil company in Poland, and a vice chairman at PERN, the largest fuel and logistics company in the region and a critical infrastructure operator.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I will, during my speech, I would like to stress on the long-run impact of the Russian-Ukrainian war on Poland's fuel market. This is the very important issue for Poland, as any fuel market is important for any country. Making European Union dependent on energy resources from the eastern direction was a crucial goal for the Russian Federation. It wanted to copy a modus operandi having practiced in the Soviet-dominated countries of Eastern and Central Europe for over 50 years. The process was abandoned after the invasion against Ukraine that caused turbulences in crude oil and fuel markets. From the Soviet-dominated country, for the former Soviet-dominated countries, the new situation meant redirection of their crude oil and fuel supply logistics. Each country of the ex-Soviet bloc was forced to cope with this challenge in a different way, depending, of course, on its geographical location. In my lecture, I am presenting the case of Poland. Please change slide. Currently existing oil, fuel, and infrastructure system was creating during the Soviet domination era in Poland. When the country, at the time named the People's Republic of Poland, was the member of Military Warsaw Treaty Pact and the Mutual Economic Assistance Council. There were the tools allowing the Soviet Russians to manage militarily and economic satellite countries. Oil market was a place where military affairs overlapped economy. The backbone of the oil production system in Soviet-controlled part of Europe was a crude oil pipeline friendship, in Russian Druzhba, that connected socialist Hungary, Germany, Czechoslovakia, and Poland with oil fields placed in the USSR. In case of Poland, the friendship provided a refinery located in the center of the country in Płock, which was established at the end of the 50s. Besides this plant, in the 70s, Poland set much smaller refinery in Gdańsk, provided with crude oil from the sea. After the fall of communism in 1989, the two oil companies were created. Companies means corporations. Larger one, Orlen, a Polish national champion in Płock, and Lotos, much smaller, in Gdańsk. At that time, along introducing free market economy, foreign oil corporations also entered the market. There were, among others, BP, Shell, but they were present only in wholesale and retail part of the business. Production and logistics were under control of Orlen and Lotos, and dedicated state-owned logistics operators, Pern, crude oil, and responsible for crude oil logistics, and for fuels, the fuels logistics operator. Although Poland has regained its political sovereignty, it still imported a vast majority of crude oil from Russia. This situation, as circumstances connected with prolonging one of the contracts in 2001, caused the political scandal and setting up a parliamentary investigative commission a few years later. Since that time, it has been clear for everyone that Poland must change the direction of crude oil supply. The process of the change was initiated and accomplished by the previous conservative government in 2015 and between 2015 and 2023. 14 years ago, in 2010, crude oil from Russia accounted for 93% of imports. In 2022, it was 42%, and now it is 0. Russia's invasion in Ukraine sped up abandoning imports from this direction, and it is worth noticing that before the option 0, Poland had also imported crude oil from other countries: Saudi Arabia, Norway, the United Kingdom, and the USA as well. Before 2022, Russia had also been one of the key players in fuel market. In 2021, the total local fuel consumption, please change the slide. In 2021, the local fuel consumption was 31 million cubic meters. And it must be underlined that only 70% of diesel demand was supplied by the Polish refineries. It means that 30% of diesel came from abroad, from Russia, Germany, Slovakia, and Belarus. It is worth noticing that fuels from these countries based in vast majority on the Russian crude oil. Russia's aggression against Ukraine severely impacted oil business. During the first weeks, we observed in Poland, specifically in Poland, shortage in fuels on retail level and difficulties with logistics, even if our refineries were working with no problems. In the long run, the Atlantic community decided to press Russia with economic means, imposing sanctions. In June 2022, the European Union Council accepted the sixth package of sanctions with embargo on Russian crude oil and oil products. There were exemptions concerning the friendship pipeline buyers. But for Poland, this was a great opportunity for definitive de-Russification of oil supply. Eventually, Poland ended up imports from Russia at the beginning of the previous year. That decision was challenge for logistics, of course. Since that time, crude oil imports have had to rely on the seaport in Gdańsk instead of the Russian pipeline. The sanctions also covered fuel imports from the east. So logistics had to be changed also in this area. The main gate for fuels has become the seaport in Gdynia. Please change. And next. Meanwhile, Poland missed a business opportunity for buying private-owned sea terminals in Świnoujście and Szczecin and small fuel depot close to the border with Ukraine. These very important places were acquired by a Ukrainian company, and this way Poland lost opportunity for strengthening its energy security. For Ukraine, this acquisition has assured a new independent route of fuel transportation from the sea to the country. And I would like also underline that we must bear in mind that through the first 18 months of the war, fuel logistics in Poland was overloaded due to the support for Ukraine. So it also caused turbulences in the market. The last but not least was a sanction imposed on LPG imports that commences on January 1st of 2025. This was an initiative of Lithuania, but consequences can strike Poland and other Eastern European countries, Bulgaria and Romania. The ban impacts refinery business due to the usage of LPG in crude oil processing and individuals who consume LPG for domestic purposes and as a gasoline substitute. In Poland, more than half of the total LPG consumption refers to imports from Russia. For Europe, it is only 2%. This ban can result in higher LPG and gasoline prices and can be painful for less wealthy part of the Polish society. Can we change? The key changes in the market refers to the logistics. If we can say that the Polish energy market depends in 60% on the sea, so crude oil imports depend in 100%. In 2023, Poland bought 26 million tons of crude oil. 45% from Saudi Arabia, 35% from Norway, 5% from the USA and Nigeria. Besides crude oil transmitted from Kazakhstan to Germany, the eastern part of the friendship pipeline connecting the refinery imports with Russia has not been working. That is an issue for the pipeline operator, PERN, because of the question of maintenance and further exploitation of the network. From the business reasons, it is impossible to abandon such large portion of the infrastructure. and that's why the problem has not been solved yet. The key change also taken place in fuel market. In 2023, no fuels were imported from Russia. When it comes to diesel imports, it was 9.7 million cubic meters. This import was totally diversified. 18% came from Germany, 12% from Sweden, 11% from Netherlands, and below 10% from the United States, Lithuania, and Saudi Arabia. Almost 1/5 of the imports from Germany was a result of a very close location of the two German refineries, Schwedt and Leuna. That Poland, using pipeline, the western part of Druzhba, partially provides with crude oil from Gdańsk. In the light of the above, the state of Poland and the key Polish oil company, Orlen, face challenges that cannot be missed, mostly in the logistics area, but also regarding security. Otherwise, energy security of Poland could be exposed to risk. Next, please. As it has been said, crude oil imports rely in 100% on the sea, where in Gdańsk, PERN, state-owned logistics operator by means of its daughter company, ensures reloading space. Orlen's supply chain has not been completed. The missing party is the one responsible for the sea transport. Relying on a foreign crude oil freight, Orlen has become vulnerable to any short-term turbulences in the sea transportation. So, to mitigate this risk, it is required for the company to possess own fleet of tankers, crude oil tankers. And Poland has had experience in bypassing routes of energy sources delivery. Before the war, Poland had already been in the process of diversification sources of gas delivery and chartered the fleet of LNG tankers. This was closely tied with terminating gas supply contract with Russia at the end of 2022. The same question concerning tankers refers to PERN. Due to the ban on the fuel import from Gdynia, which was imposed by the European Commission on Orlen as a condition for Orlen-Lotos merger, it is crucial for the government to allow PERN to import fuels to guarantee energy security in the fuel market. For the time being, PERN has sent a required application to the Energy Regulatory Office for concession. But besides this, it is worth considering for PERN to have its own fuel tankers to guarantee constant fuel delivery for the country. Next, please. The last but not least issue. The last but not least issue to be on the table is connecting the Polish fuel infrastructure with the NATO Central Europe pipeline system. During the Cold War, the NATO developed a network of the pipes linking sea terminals, refineries, military bases, fuel depots, military and civilian airports. It is a military-civil complex that assures a fuel supply for dual use, strengthening the state resilience in Central European countries, at that time Central European countries, Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. So apart from the host countries, there is also the one user nation, the USA, with its military bases. The presence of the SIPs in Poland had been discussed before the war, but after the outbreak of the conflict and imposing sanctions, it's the importance of presence the SIPs in Poland arose. According to the pattern of operation, the NATO requires a business concept for national part of the network that covers maintenance and operating expenses. For Poland, this is the Central Communication Port project. As a key logistic hub in Central Europe and the NATO infrastructure facility. A decision to start the project was made in 2017. But after the elections in 2023, where the center-left coalition won, future of the project is not clear due to the current government's skepticism and its officials' earlier negative activism. From the fuel market perspective, the concept could positively deal with diesel shortage in Poland, and moreover, with the level of dependency on the sea lines of communication, and as a result, strengthening the eastern flank of the NATO. So, as we can see, the impact of the war on the fuel business in Poland is huge, and we can observe the results on many levels, starting with challenges for state logistics, windows of opportunity for entrepreneurs, for newcomers in the fuel imports, and finally causing uncertainty for consumers. There are many, I must say, there are many variables that we have to take into account analyzing current situation. And even if we think that we have full spectrum of knowledge, still the outcome of the change and of the long-term impact is difficult to predict. So besides, when it comes to the fuel market as it is, besides the question of the war, we must to take into account another factor influencing this business in Poland. This is the Green Deal project launched by the European Union, and something that can change totally fuel market, not only in Poland but also in Europe. So, analyzing fuel market, we need to assess and assessing all risk. We need to do it in a comprehensive way, taking into account, as I have said, the question of the Green Deal. But the Green Deal is another story. So this presentation is not enough to put you in the picture concerning such a complex topics. I am, of course, very interested in developing my research in this area and interested in presenting results of such research to the audience. But for the time being, thank you very much for your attention.